it's very important that we give back, whether it's our time, our treasures, right, or our talent, right? So I've given all three. But we need money to survive.
Yes.
So it might not be, I can't give the million yet. It's coming.
Yes.
Right, but it's important that we give our treasures because we know that we have to survive, and we can't survive off air.
From the Office of Institutional Advancement and Alumni Relations, this is Xavier Gold Live, the podcast highlighting stories of leadership, impact, and the Xavier spirit.
Welcome to Xavier Gold Live, your front row seat to the stories of Xavier alumni transforming passion into purpose. I'm Jamya Stewart, a psychology major exploring the world of mass communication as my minor, hailing from the great city of Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Amaya Sanford, a proud mass communication major from the Atlanta, Georgia. Together, we're committed to uncovering the stories, legacies, and lived experiences that continue to shape Xavier University. On this episode, we welcome Damon L. Williams Jr., a nationally recognized facilitator, strategist, and change innovator, and proud Xavierite whose career spans more than 2 decades across higher education, corporate and nonprofit leadership, and he's also known for bridging strategy with community impact. Damon has dedicated his work to build inclusive talent pipelines, transforming organizational cultures, and advancing equity through partnership and practice. He has served as Vice President for Outreach at University of Kentucky Healthcare, where he led statewide initiatives addressing the social determinants of health and expanding pathways into healthcare careers across the state of Kentucky.
A graduate of Xavier University of Louisiana with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology, Damon has held senior leadership roles at Northwestern University, Emory University, and the University of Kentucky, where he advanced partnerships that foster belonging, economic opportunity, and social impact. He also holds degrees from Tulane University and Fontbonne University, currently a doctoral student in leadership and innovation at New York University, continuing a career dedicated to health, equity, and community transformation. Damon, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, ladies. I'm excited to be here with you.
We're excited to have you.
Yes.
So your career has consistently focused on building inclusive talent pipelines and advancing equity. So what early experiences first shaped your commitment to this work?
Oh, wow. Thank you for the question. I would say I'm from a small town in Louisiana called Tallulah, Louisiana. It's Madison Parish, home of Madam C.J. Walker and Delta Airlines. People don't know that, but those 2 pillars are there. My parents, both public servants, worked hard. Education was the focus for my brother and I. And they sent us to school. The best schools near were in Mississippi, an hour away. So they drove every day, an hour, 2 hours, an hour there and back and forth for us to have the best education. In their lives, my mother is from New Orleans. My father originally is from Bowie, Maryland, but was raised in Tallulah, Louisiana. A military brat, so he lived in several places. But the center of everything for my parents, for my brother and I, was education. So driving from Louisiana to Mississippi every day, we went to Vicksburg Catholic schools to go along with the theme of other Catholic schools, Xavier. Education was just always the center point of opportunities and access. So my parents were some of the first, right? My father was started his career as a state trooper before he became a chief of police. So he was one of the first and only. And my mother worked for Louisiana, the state, for more than 39 years and was the first and one of the first to have a degree. Very qualified at her job. So my parents taught us really early that nothing can be taken away from us with education. Yes. There were no glass ceilings for us. And every opportunity that we wanted, we could achieve as long as we had education.
Yes.
That's real. I understand that. I feel like a lot of times when you realize the impact of education, there's a lesson in that, and you're continuing to learn those lessons because you carry them throughout your life, and you've worked across higher education, corporate, nonprofit sectors, So how do you really take all three of those and make them work, and what lessons have you learned about the leadership and the system change within those spaces?
Yeah. So I say a few things. First, I had two great mentors at Xavier. Miss Carolyn Thomas was the director of the career services when I was here. I had Dr. Derek Riveras, was the director of the Office of Graduate Placement and Ronald McNair Scholars. So I was a part of both of those offices, which gave me the foundation, along with Sister Catherine Drexel's mission and Dr. Norman C. Francis, of having a more social, just, and humane society, that led me to a career of creating seats at the tables for others. Right now, obviously, I was a psych major. I knew that I liked the study of the minds of people. Right, I watched my classmates. I think of two. Dr. Dre is his name, not the rapper. But there's a physician, Dr. Dre, and good friends of mine, Hassan Akimbi, who's a physician, and Adama May, who they both are from Chicago. We all were in classes together, and I just used to think about how do we all have opportunities, right, in the spaces that we are in. Really good friends of mine, and I had a really good professor, Dr. Beverly Mason. I'm calling out a lot of people because I want to say the foundation of how everything started. And Dr. Mason used to say to me, Damon, you know that you're really concerned about everybody, right? Like you are on the path, because I worked luxury retail when I was at Xavier, and everyone thought that I would be a brand manager or something in luxury retail. But I had this focus, because I'm an MBA now, but I had a focus on generating sales and making money, but I always wanted to give back, right? So my career has spanned, they call me the access architect, right? Because I create access and opportunities, right? So it started in corporate, where I worked for a cigarette company, Philip Morris, right out of Xavier, where I got an internship. I'm down here now for Youth Motivation Task Force, YMTF. Back in 1999, there's an individual that was a speaker in our class. He said that he was from New York. He worked for the company. I knew that small town Damon in New Orleans, my two favorite cities are New Orleans and New York. I wanted to get to New York some kind of way. I said, I'm going to apply for an internship with Philip Morris, and I got that internship.
Took that opportunity,
right? That's why I come back every year. And then I got a campus ambassador job as an HBCU ambassador to talk about Philip Morris. I used to table at Xavier South, where we are now. And then the Student Center wasn't the Student Center it is now. It used to be across the street where the chapel is. And I would talk about opportunities for students, because at the time we knew a lot about pre-medicine, but the business students or students that were interested in the social sciences didn't really know about as many opportunities. And I knew I wanted to go to grad school, but I also knew I had a talent of sales. So I got into that. And when I got to Philip Morris, I knew that I wanted more colleagues that looked like me, students from Xavier, students from HBCUs or minority serving institutions, to be there. So my career has expanded, where I did 10 years in corporate industry, nonprofit, but then I came back home in 2009 to Xavier. And I ran some programs that we can talk about, the Ronald McNair program, some of the summer pre-collegiate programs like Super Scholar Excel and Source, some of those programs that were instrumental with building a pipeline at Xavier. But then I worked at 4 unique institutions, like you've noted. So Emory called after a presentation. I did some inaugural work there of looking at access, which you asked about. And then Northwestern called, and I was their inaugural diversity dean there. And then a Xavierite called me because there was a lot of work in Kentucky. Breonna Taylor was a student at University of Kentucky at one time. We all know the deaths in 2020 of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others. She wasn't a student at the time of death, but she was a student at UK. So I felt that my creating a world of social justice and creating access, as being this access architect, as diverse issues has coined me, I wanted to go to the University of Kentucky to think about how I can make the Commonwealth, a land-grant institution, a place where everybody could thrive and become educated.
I really like that you never let an opportunity go by. It sounds like you always grabbed onto what was put in front of you. And I feel like not everybody does that anymore. Yeah. And we get a lot of resources, like how YMTF is happening. I don't think everyone takes advantage of like what's going on. Like these are people in your face. Like you want to go talk to these people and go maybe get an internship and things like that. And it sounds like you had a lot of impactful people in your life. But I want to know, when you look at the impact in your work today, what outcomes or stories most affirm that you're making a meaningful difference?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I often think about that, right? People who've been impactful on my career, but whose career have I been impactful on? And I'll give a few. I looked at LinkedIn last night and saw one of the students that I recruited to our program is now in our inaugural professorship.
Wow.
At Duke. Was one of my students at Northwestern. I think about someone who interned for me here in the Office of Graduate Placement, Dr. Vernon Dunn, I should say. He went on to get a PhD at LSU. He's a neuroscientist. I was just talking to another neuroscientist at YMTF about I need to connect the two of them so they can do some research together. My team and I, it's always been a team. I never wanted to come off if it's just me.
Yes.
Because we know at Xavier it took a community of people to get us here, right?
Yes.
Right, it took a community. So I think about my team, two things I'll say. At Northwestern, we were able to recruit the largest diverse class in the history of the school, right? We doubled the amount of students that were enrolled in graduate school. Not only enrolled, who graduated, right? So that was most important because you can attract people to your school.
Can you make them
what's
stay?
Important, you got to get them to stay. And the team and I did a lot of work to get them to stay there. But I'll tell you, at every location, everything, I've had some success. But I think what's true to my heart, because there's YMTF participants this year who are my students when I was at Xavier.
That's really
cool.
So
I think that's a testament of the hard work. But every location, everywhere has been a true testament of success, and hopefully I've been able to make a difference. But I often look at LinkedIn, or I'm reading White House Fellows, or I see some new faculty member that's been granted tenure or something, and I say, wow, the office that we had, maybe they listened to one of those little nuggets I gave. Some of them were hard-headed, right? And it takes some time, for them to listen and fall and come back. But it's always great to see the success. And I always say that you were smart. You just need a little extra, a little push, right? Yeah. And somebody to hold you accountable, right? When I first got to Xavier, our Ronald E. McNair program that's under attack right now, people don't realize the Dr. Ronald E. McNair Scholars Program was named for first-generation students and low-income students that get Pell Grants, and underrepresented in the doctoral process. We had wasn't very diverse with gender, and it wasn't very diverse with ethnicity. But when I got here, I told my team I want 50-50, right? And we got to hold people accountable, and we had that, right? And we were some of the first to have Native American students and some students that were Latinx, right? Just a varied diversity. So I'm just very happy for the success of the program and hope it continues.
I'm glad that you brought up impact and success and having those people in your corner, because you have a really unique story that I read about. You were able to receive an on-the-spot full ride scholarship from the late, great Dr. Norman C. Francis.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that and why it's important for you and more alumni to come back and invest in your alma mater as you grow in success and influence?
Oh, yes, most definitely. So it's very important that we give back, whether it's our time, our treasures, right, or our talent, right? So I've given all three because I came back to work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But we need money to survive.
Yes.
So it might not be, I can't give the million yet. It's coming.
Yes.
Right, but it's important that we give our treasures, because we know that we have to survive, and we can't survive off air, right? And we stand on the the shoulders of Sister Catherine Drexel, of Dr. Norman C. Francis, the late Dr. Norman C. Francis. I mentioned Miss Carolyn Thomas, Dr. Rivera's, Dr. Carmichael, right? Dr. Mason, so many people. So I shot a call of action to my colleagues that have done so well. We can start small with 100, but we'll take 1 million too, right? And we can get some matches from our donors, our organizations, our companies. But our time, I'm so elated that you all thought to have this conversation with me, because just sitting down, having a conversation about my experience from the start, the first time I met Dr. Francis at a college fair, it was with the entire team. I think Mr. Winston Boyd and some others were there, and they gave, I remember there was my mother took us, me and my friends, there's about 5 of us, were the only African Americans, blacks in the high school. And I was always that person that says, if I'm coming, you going. So we all got in that caravan. We went to Jackson State to the college fair. And I remember Brandy and I are the same age. Brandy, the singer. Yeah. She performed. She's from Macomb, Mississippi.
She is.
So there
at the college fair she performed?
Yeah, she performed. Wow. They had to attract us there with some ladies, just not
they
the
had
college.
to get y'all in the building.
They had to get us in the building. So she performed, I remember that, and Xavier had a table, and I went up and introduced myself. We were just talking about this at YMTF, got that elevator pitch, right? I might not know exactly those words then, but my name, where I was a student at the current high school student at the time, St. Aloysius, and what I was interested in, psychology pre-med. And I think I shared I was a Coca-Cola semifinalist at the time. That was a big thing of my age and my generation, and that I was a senior class president, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the activities. You got to have the grades. You got to have the community service. You got to have those things. And I remember them saying full tuition scholarship, right, on the spot. Yeah, it's very important to, I've had the opportunity to have that. And then I had the great joy where I tell people I fell in love with Xavier's when I returned to work. And I had the opportunity to see Dr. Francis and to talk to Dr. Francis. Sometimes I would talk to him a little too much. So I had to say, Damon, stop going in the president's office. You report to Dr. Blanchard. You don't report to Dr. Francis. And I would wait on him because I knew he had a car in Infinity. He would park at a certain parking spot. And I would zoom out and say, Dr. Francis, I think I have this for you. And he was always polite and caring and said, Damon, what do you have now? 2014, I got a call from Emory University. I went to a conference. It was an Emory STEM symposium. I took 5 students, particularly that we had a set of twins that both got into MD, PhD programs at the time. It took all of us to get in, but they were McNair scholars, Ashley and Asia Matthews. And I took them, and we went there, and I did a talk on the value of having partnerships with historical black colleges and universities. We know our greatness. We know our excellence. But not all the time do people know that, right? So they would tell me that they being Emory, had challenges finding students. And I said, well, you got to go to where the students are because we're here.
Absolutely.
And I did a presentation on that, and not just about Xavier, about all institutions. And they obviously know about the AUC because it's in Atlanta. Yeah. But I got a phone call from Elisa Tedesco, the dean, and there was a new role, an inaugural role created there, and I was invited to apply, and I got that job. Wow. So I was very sad to leave Xavier. I had some jobs before, and I thought Xavier was just a fantastic job for me. And as I said in the article recently, published in the EDU Ledger, that I saw Dr. Francis after telling Dr. Blanchard I would be leaving. And he said, it's okay. You go out there and you go to Emory, you go to the PWIs, you learn it all, and you come back and you serve, right? You serve. So, I would say that I had the great opportunity to meet Dr. Francis early in my career as a student, a budding student, and saw him at summer research programs and saw him when I was a student and was always in awe of his achievements and the things he was able to do. And then I came back a second time, and I got to work for him under his leadership as president. So, yes, it's very moving.
I love how everyone speaks about Dr. Norman C. Francis. Yes. Like, the full ride scholarship on hand, like, that is a blessing, and it's deserving, too. And I'm glad that he saw it was. And going back to you talking about how it was sad to leave Xavier, I can understand that, but I feel like Xavier gives you your wings and just gives you your wings to go out there and go, to go
tackle the world.
Man. Yes. So that you have a beautiful story, and I just love how involved Dr. Norman C. Francis was. That's an amazing thing.
Yes.
Okay, Jam, we both got to brag on our Xavier family real quick.
No, seriously, because when we say our alumni and friends showed up, I mean y'all showed up.
We set out with the goal of 2015 donors in honor of the one and only Dr. Norman C. Francis.
And guess what? Y'all didn't just meet the goal, you locked it in. I mean, that's legacy right there.
And a huge shout out to our pre-alumni council. PAC really came through.
And when we say came through, that's an understatement. PAC raised $20,000 that is going directly back into student life, resources, and opportunities for current and future students at Xavier University of Louisiana.
So when people ask, where does the money go? It goes to us. It goes to classrooms, leadership, experiences, and making sure Xavier stays Xavier.
Exactly. This is bigger than fundraising. This is impact. This is community. I mean, this is family business.
And listen, if you haven't given yet, don't panic. You're not too late to the party. You can still be the birthday.
I mean, you can still give like today, like right now. Pull up, tap in, and be a part of something that is shaping the next generation of Xavierites.
Because here on Xavier Gold Live, we don't just celebrate the goal.
We celebrate the people who make the goal possible.
Xavier University of Louisiana, where legacy meets impact and the giving never stops. Now, after looking into your profession and the major influence you've made beyond Xavier's campus, we would love for you to take a blast from the past and relive your experience. So, the year is 1997.
Okay.
Master P and No Limit are taking over the city. Cash Money is just starting to rise, and Hot Boys tracks are blasting from car speakers on Washington Avenue. The second line beats roll through the streets on Sundays and on the yard. Students are rocking cross colors, jerseys, and fresh white tees. The cafeteria line is long. The community is tight, and Xavier's culture of purpose and possibility is alive in every corner of the campus. What was New Orleans and Xavier like during your time on campus in the late 90s?
Oh, my goodness. You just walked me through a time. No Limit Soldiers, Cash Money, Snappies with the chicken sandwich.
Y'all love Snappies.
Yes.
Snappies. Oh, my God.
Yes.
Dr. Senegal DeQueer told us about Snappies.
Oh,
Yes.
Snappies saved our lives. Snappies in Piccadilly, across the street. We
Have
didn't
they
have
said-
this.
I think I've heard
Yeah,
Piccadilly's.
it no longer exists over there. But, you know, we didn't have all the great options you have now. But a few things I'll say. It was a beautiful time to see all this Black excellence.
Yes.
We were SGA presidents. We were homecoming kings and queens. I mean, excuse me, I used to be over the Spring Fest and homecoming fashion show with dear friends, right? It was the thing.
I know you had it set
Yeah.
out. I know you did.
We would, let me tell you, we used to go to Clark Atlanta was known to have one of the best ones in Howard. So we would go to the homecoming to learn and come back. Right?
Y'all were
Cast.
like
we were
champions.
legit. We were legit. And we, I had the good pleasure of working in the Riverwalk and Canal Place.
Oh,
So
you
I
were
would
seeing
see
the
some
real
of the
fashion
real
show.
people, Mystical and some of these big stars. We would have them perform, right, as intermission and different things during our fashion shows. So I would challenge some of my classmates or people that were at Xavier during 97 or 01. They remember Hits on the Street, BET.
Okay.
You ever want to see what Xavier was like, go Google Hits on the Street. He was a guy on BET who used to go to all the HBCUs, and the yard was live.
It's on the
It
street.
was
I'm
very
gonna have to go
live.
watch
Yes.
that.
Yeah, it was like something you. So we come back to campus now, and I love that the campus is what it is for you all. But I'm like, this ain't what.
You guys make me jealous.
Y'all make me so
Like,
that y'all basically y'all saying the
It
yard
was-
is dead now.
It's that 90s era, like
yeah.
the late 90s.
If the yard was dead, be honest.
In all due respect, it's it's the greenery's growing.
Yeah.
But it was fully live back then.
Yes.
Right. We used to have the walk from Norman C. Francis to the House of Studies now. That's no longer there, which is where the statue is. We call that the runway. And around the tree, one of what's the record label Drake and Nicki Minaj are on?
Young Money.
Young Money CEO used to go to Xavier. He used to sit over
really?
there. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So we had a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, sounds fun.
Because where the chapel is used to be the student center. So that walkway from NCF past pharmacy all the way over there to the patio shows, the Snappies, to D9 stepping. It was just a lot going on.
Wow.
So we were very excited. It was a true HBCU experience. Dean Berg stopping music.
Jealous.
Yeah.
Dean Berg was our vice president
He said,
of student affairs.
none of that.
He was like, no twerking. None of that.
None of
no
that.
bounce. None of that. None of that. But, you know, we had a Spring Fest concert. We had rides in the parking lot. Yeah, the 2 parking lots now, which are not parking lots anymore because we built a new student center there, which you needed. But that was gravel where we used to have fairs with rides and different things. So that time back then was a great time. We didn't really realize what was happening there
At that moment.
but we were forming, you know, we were having the opportunity, most importantly, to lead those events, right? So we were learning leadership skills at the time, right? How to delegate, how to lead, how to build relationships, how to broker agreements, how to do lots of things, because in order to have fashion shows and concerts and people on campus and things like that, that was left up to us. So I would say as students, if you're not happy with what you're seeing, this administration, I'm sure Dean Curtis and others are doing great things, but it's up to you. You know, take the leadership role and find what's happening, benchmark what's happening at those other HBCUs or across the city and bring those things to campus. But I enjoyed my time at Xavier University.
I'm sure you did.
Sounds like loads of fun. And I'm so glad that the Xavier community really influences people and shows. I think it's like that first sense of culture for some people. And like you said, they don't really realize what's going on and they don't realize how far it can take them. So in what ways did you realize that the Xavier community, it really influenced me? How did it influence your sense of purpose or like the direction you want to go in your career as a student?
Yeah. Well, I knew that I had, you know, when I got to Xavier, we were all leaders. So, and a lot of us came from PWIs, predominantly white, K through 12.
Yeah.
So Xavier taught us first that we weren't the only ones that were smart, which is good. It might have been a little uncomfortable at first. And it's interesting sometimes when we say this, people are like, what do you mean when you're Black African American? But if you've been in these predominantly spaces, you were the only, right? So Xavier taught us that other people were just as smart and how to navigate that, how to work together. I was telling the YMTF class earlier, your next Norman C's, Regina Benjamins, you know, all Alexis Herman, all these great, they're walking past them daily. So make sure that you stay in contact. I am still close to my core, right, that I had years ago today. We still own companies together. We go on trips together. We plan things together. We're on each other's boards. We do different things. But, I just reflect on Xavier is just a great place.
Yes,
I love
it
it.
is. And I love that you kind of talked about how coming here kind of opened your eyes up from, you know, a lot of people do come from predominantly white high schools, and it is a culture shock sometimes coming to Xavier. And I always refer to how everybody is just so great. Everybody, you think you might have been
You think you know the best of the best.
You might have been a
Xavier is
valedictorian
the
at your
best.
high school, but you come here, everybody was.
Well, Xavier first will humble you
Yes.
and get you right on together.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Grab you up.
Hopefully early on,
Yeah,
and
early
not
on.
too late.
But then it'll teach you so many things, right? We have the art village. Like there's art that I've collected from Xavier Wrights.
Yes.
We have people that have been in culminaries. Just so many different things that you graduate so well-rounded.
Yes.
Right? And then we're in such a great city.
Yes.
Right. Some of us might not realize
Oozing
how
with
great
culture.
New Orleans oozing with culture, right? That's what the
Yes.
question was about the culture of the city and the culture of the experience. I think that in the moment, as I stated earlier, you don't realize how great it is. Then you step outside the culture and you're like, oh, ooh. I had it good.
Yeah.
I'm in the gumbo of excellence.
Yeah,
right?
of excellence.
Yeah, I'm in the gumbo of excellence, that there's so many walks of life and so many things right at our fingertips. You want art, you go downtown. You want music, you go uptown. You go this place. It's all here, right? You just have to take advantage of it. And that's what I tell when I return. Sometimes we don't get these free experiences. Just to walk through and see the museums and have an opportunity to see a second line or the Mardi Gras Indians or to experience Mardi Gras, right? Or to go and sit with a sister of Blessed Sacrament, right? The sisters, and have that conversation. Or I was taught by W.E.B. Du Bois's granddaughter.
Really?
Yeah, she was one of my psychology professors.
I heard that.
Yeah, which is the reason why I got into the major.
Really?
Yeah, which is why I got into the major. She worked as a therapist for years in New York City. And my psychology colleagues and alums will be like, yes, right, 2 snap fingers for her, because she was just fantastic. So we just had so many amazing professors and staff members that really cared about us, that created a culture of excellence, expectations, accountability, and we have to be the best. But while we're being the best, we're being collaborative to do this, because we only as good as the next person. So as we stand on someone's shoulders, we know that we have to bring somebody to stand on our shoulders with us.
Yes. And I'm glad you just talked about how amazing the faculty and the care and all of those things, because I know you talked on a lot of people that impacted you. You gave a good amount of shout outs. But I want to know, is there a specific, if you could think of a specific staff member or mentor that played a pivotal role in your development? Who would you talk about, and what story would you give?
Yeah, Carolyn Thomas. Miss Thomas was the director for more than 30 years in the Office of Career Services. I went to Miss Thomas as a young person, probably my freshman or sophomore year, and said, I want to work in this office because I want to get every interview with every company, because I want to understand what it means, because I know I need a big job when I graduate.
Yes.
And I think I'll never forget this, my first interview was with Johnson & Johnson Pharmaceutical Company. So I worked at Banana Republic at the time, and I think the color of the season was like a lilac. Just listen, don't laugh. And I showed up with this gray suit on. It's a professional gray. And I had on a lilac color shirt and tie, and she said, where are you going with that on? That's not professional. Right? So Miss Thomas, it wasn't that she was being mean, right? She was taking me up to the standard that was expected for a person interviewing for an internship and a professional, right, and a person at Xavier University, Louisiana, right? We have to show ourselves. So Ms. Thomas worked with me. She allowed me to be a part of a lot of interviews. I talked about the internship with Philip Morris. She prepared me for that. Ms. Thomas and I stayed in contact. We're still in contact today. I give her shout-outs. She was the originator of YMTF, right? So we know that some of us are so successful. We know about J.W. Carmichael in medical school. We know about Dr. Derek Rivera's. I call them the 3 disciples, under Dr. Francis. But Miss Carolyn Thomas was very instrumental in who Damon is today. So, Miss Thomas, if you're listening, thank you.
That's amazing.
I'm glad that Xavier allows us to be in such a position where we're with staff members and faculty members who really care about us. They're preparing us for the real world, like those small things with just like your suit, like small things that are preparing us for the real world. And our mission is all about calling us as Xavier, soon to be grads as yourself, but to create a more just and humane society. How has that calling guided your own personal leadership journey?
Oh, yeah. If we think about who founded our institution, Catherine Drexel, St. Catherine Drexel, Mother Drexel, as we say, right, to promote a more just and humane society by preparing leaders, right? I think those tenets of academic excellence, faith formation, social justice, and community responsibility sit within all of us, right? I've had several opportunities and will continue to have several opportunities. But as I think about things, I'm always thinking, how can I bring people along with me, right? How can my friends, my leaders, my colleagues, we maximize our opportunities? That's why I'm here, right? Volunteering for YMTF and have done it for over 10 years and hope to continue doing it. But yes, the environment, the culture, you feel it, right? No matter if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a professor, mass comm, You're a meteorologist, as I just saw my formal student who was sitting by me at lunch.
Wow.
You know, whatever field we're in, we're thinking about we're going to be our best selves. We're going to come with excellence. We're going to have a little faith behind that, whether it's faith-based, right? Or I'm Catholic, so Catholic mission, but social justice, right? And what that means is I know as a person who has led diversity, right, those call letters are a little under attack, not a little, but under attack. And sometimes we're afraid to say it, but having people culturally intelligent, right, so that we can make the best decisions, that's on all sides of the aisle, right? Doesn't matter what gender, what race. We want people to be their best selves, but we also want people to treat people like they want to be treated. And most important, the platinum rule is to treat people how they want to be treated, right? But I think a sense of community responsibility as well, that we are here, we are producing the best, and that it equates to that mission.
Yes. Just listening to you speak, you've given back in so many different ways. You're pouring into me right now.
Yes.
Like, you give back so much, and it's very grateful for it. And you're initially doing a service. So as a leader that is leading system level change, what does service mean to you at this stage in your career?
Oh, yeah. Service is very important to me. Community service. I don't even call it community. I just say Damon service.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
There's lots of things that I do. Education, like I said, everything's around access and opportunity.
Yes.
Right. Doesn't matter if you come from a family that you're the first or you might be the third generation, but we need access. We need to know what's available for us. So I do a few things. First, I have 1,000 mentees. I think it's important that you have reciprocal mentoring, right? So there's people that come to me and say, I need this, I need that, or what do you think about that? So I call them mentees. Reciprocal mentorship means some of my mentees serve as my mentors, right? There's things I learned from them, right? When you just gave me this whole play about taking me back to 1997, there was a whole flash in my brain that said, wow, right? I'm celebrating 25 years this year.
Yeah.
It's my 25 years that I graduated from Xavier. So much seems like just yesterday.
Yeah.
Though I have gray hair. But at the same time, I know that there's a lot that's been done during that time. But I just think about like what has been done during that time frame. Yeah.
For students who feel called to do the work that you do, what mindset or habits would you encourage them to start developing now in this stage of like that collegiate area? You know, you're starting to feel yourself a little bit, but it's time to reel it in.
Yeah, so I would tell people, so I came to school psychology pre-med, right? And I like to share the story that with Dr. Carmichael when he was with us, that organic chemistry introduced me to my real major. That's a nice way of saying I didn't do too hot in organic chemistry. But, you know, I had professors that said, you know, this is your calling, right? And sometimes the professors know. They see things in you that we don't see. So call to action for students is first, think about what's your passion and not so much what people have told you or what you see on TikTok or Instagram or social media, what you should be doing, right? Your passion, you're not going to figure it out immediately. There's a time frame. I wanted to be pre-med. I like psychology, the study of the minds of people. I like sociology, the study of groups of people. And I knew I liked business. You know, as a child, I had businesses. And what I mean by that is my friends wanted to eat candy. I told my parents, let's go to Sam's and let me get candy. And they used to sell them. You're not going to come to my house and eat up my candy. You got to pay for this. I had parties. I was popular as a child, right? So I knew that people wanted to go to my parties.
You got to pay to get in.
You got to pay to get in the door. Got to pay to get in the Pizza Hut.
I know that's right.
You got to pay to get in the skating rink. The payment might have come through a nice gift, right? But my mother and father, particularly my mother, will laugh at right now. She heard this because I was like, yeah, let me capitalize on this opportunity.
Early mindset.
Right, early mindset. So sometimes it's not laid out traditionally to you. So it took me going through, I was at Xavier. My friends were all pre-med, doing well. I wasn't because I wasn't in the right major, right? But I knew I loved people. I knew I wanted people to come along the journey with me, right? I didn't understand what the words access meant, right, at the time. I didn't understand what opportunity meant at the time. I just knew that I wanted my friends to be at the finish line with me.
Yes.
Right? I knew that I wanted them to be able to do what I wanted to do, right? So I think that students today have to try different things, right? And that's the only way you will find. I did consumer products. I toyed with pharmaceutical sales. I did luxury branding. I still love luxury branding. Everybody that knows me, I love my stuff. My executive president is going to show up a certain way, right? That's was formed when I was a child, and I probably took it to the next level. I have a niece now that's like 9 asking for Lululemon. We're like, and Goryard purses. I'm
early
like,
mindset, early mindset.
Yeah. But that's you right there.
Yes,
that's you.
But try different things. And you might stumble.
Yep.
You might have a roadblock. You might stump your feet. But once you figure it out, that figuring out place for me was Xavier. When I came back to work at Xavier, like I said, I fell back in love with Xavier, right? Bill Hooks says that we must fall back in love with over and over and over again. So at that point, I knew that, I wrote in a journal. I wanted a job where I could travel, I could expose people to things, I could expose myself to things, I could give them life skills. So short story, in high school, I didn't feel that my counselor exposed us to enough HBCUs. So I took over. I ordered all videos. At that time, we had VHSs. Don't tell anybody. You probably don't even know what that is. But they had VHSs that I ordered from all the schools. And I used to hold office hours. And I used to tell my friends, this is where you look at this school. Look at that school.
College counselor.
Yeah, I was already doing that stuff.
Oh
I was already doing some of those things already. So sometimes I tell students and parents, pay attention to what you're doing. Right? At the moment, it might not seem like the most, because we all want the money. Right? We want the title. We don't realize titles are in it. Right?
Ooh.
Titles can change very quickly. Right? But be passionate, work hard, get sponsors and mentors, network. Right? You have things that we didn't have in my time when I was at Xavier's, such a thing called LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? You can just look at it and see. I tell people all that what I do in my own career, I see people, and I'm like, let me look at their career path. Before you have to guess it, right? Or go to the encyclopedia, and we know you're not reading that.
No.
You're not reading those. You don't even know what that is. That's a vintage book for decoration. So an example is I was coming here. I was in the Sky Club in Atlanta, and they had for Valentine's Day, they had a black couple on the cover of the society page, and it was called Power Couples. So I said, well, this is interesting. So I went inside, and there was only one black African-American couple. And I went on LinkedIn and Googled their names. One graduated from Emory, one graduated from Northwestern.
Wow.
So I friended them. And then I did a little bit more research. Their daughter was a graduate of one of my programs, right?
Wow.
So see, 10 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
So we can network. So I'm interested in networking with them further. So fulfill your passion. You don't have to know it, but just do what feels good. It'll come, because with that comes money.
Yes.
We don't want doctors who didn't do well in science, or lawyers who can't pass the
get me
ball.
out of jail.
Right. All those things.
Yeah.
So when you do the work that I do, I never feel like I'm working. Right. I never feel like I'm working. Like I come here, I talk to students, I fight for access and opportunities. I fight for a seat at the table for myself, not just a seat at the table, because we do like that Solange song, but we need a seat at the decision-making table, right? Where the decisions are made is the seat that I want at the table, right? And try things. Study abroad, right? That's the one thing I didn't do as a undergrad that I wish I would have done. Reach out to people. Don't be afraid to ask questions, right? Get on LinkedIn, see people. Try things. You have entrepreneurial things now. You don't have to wait till you graduate. Like the two of you might have a podcast out of this. Yes. Right? So try those things. Right? So I would just say, know that there's no ceilings. I never work with that. Right? My mother and father never told me there was a glass ceiling. I think, unfortunately, because of their age, race, and gender, they had some. But my brother and I have bust through those ceilings, right? What's the saying? You're your ancestors' wife's worst nightmare, because we've we moved on. We passed all those things that they could have done. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the life lessons. Be humble, right? Remember where you come from, and always bring someone with you.
Mm-hmm. I love everything that you touched on. You literally hit every nail on the head. Yes. And I love that you talked about, doing what you're passionate about, and you kind of spoke about pre-med. I'm sure we all have a lot of pre-med friends, we're at Xavier, and I'll have a lot of them, they don't have the love for it. And I'm like, well, do you want to get stuck doing this later on? You want to do something that you enjoy. Yes, the money is there, but you don't want to go to work every day with a frown on your face.
No, you don't.
You don't. Okay, so now it is time for our favorite segment of the podcast. It is time to rush our Go guests into answering some rapid fire questions. Okay, this segment of the podcast is called the Live 5. We will be asking you 5 questions we think our Go community would love to know. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
First question, homecoming or Springfest?
Springfest.
Go-to study spot on campus?
The library.
Favorite calf meal?
Fried catfish.
Describe your Xavier experience in one word.
Unforgettable.
What's one thing about New Orleans that never changes no matter how many times that you come back?
The culture.
That's perfect.
That's great.
Well, again, it was a pleasure connecting with you, a fellow alumnus, through conversation. How can our growing Gold community connect with you online?
Sure. So I'm all over social media. I think my Instagram is Damon Lewis MBA. I'm Damon Lewis Williams Jr. on LinkedIn. I'm Damon Williams on Facebook. So, you can find me there. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, right? So any place that you need to, you need any assistance, you just want to talk about your experience. The class of 2001, whoop, whoop. It's our 25th anniversary
Y'all gonna
this
have fun
year.
at homecoming
We're
this
gonna
year.
have fun. I am challenging the class of 2001. I want us to give the best gift.
So it's a shout out. It's a call.
So get your Amex, checkbooks,
American
your
Express.
American Express.
Get all them points.
Get all your debits. I know all the doctors, lawyers,
Yes.
PhDs. I want us to give back because particularly this year at this time with the death of our beloved Dr. Norman C. Francis, we are here because of giants like himself and Sister Catherine Drexel. So I want to see you in November at homecoming, everybody.
Yes, we will be looking out for you.
We will.
Right.
We'll be.
We will be
Class
there.
of 2001. I'll be
We're
looking
looking
out.
for y'all.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a wonderful opportunity to speak with you both. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. XU, you know what to do.
Subscribe and rate the show today and join us, the Xavier Gold Live podcast, on the first Tuesday of every month to stay up to date with all things alumni.
Follow at XULA Alumni on Instagram and subscribe to our monthly alumni newsletter.
Until next time, Xavierites.